Thank you, James. And I think we need to preface this with the fact that I'm very happy that Abyss is getting his flowers now, that he's able to be in video games. I wish you're going to quote him because they asked, obviously, are you getting back into the ring? But if he's going to get paid off of this, I'm not sure with DLC if royalty checks are in order. Back in the day, if you're on DLC, you didn't get a royalty check if you weren't on the main roster. But I hope that's changed in 2025 because Abyss has given his body to this business. I've witnessed it firsthand, whether I worked him, watched his matches, and it's great to see this. So I did watch this before we started recording the pre-show, and I have to say, spoiler, this here is like the most accurate representation. It actually gave me some goosebumps because it reminded me when we worked Victory Road 2009, it was this match, the outfit that he changed to, that dark kind of Michael Myers, Texas Chainsaw Massacre type of look. I don't know what exactly the outfit's supposed to be. To you, James?
No, I thought like the hoodie he wears on this sort of over it reminds me of like the original Mankind.
Good call. It's a mixture of
outfit.
all these kind of like horror movie and some wrestlers. But look at this. This is about as accurate as possible. And obviously we can't play the music, but they're using his TNA music that he came out to when he wrestled me, at least in the era of Dr. Stevie versus Abyss. But man, it just looks incredible. You know, and I have a PS5 Pro. Do you have a regular PS5 or just two PS5s to make a PS10?
I've got a PS10, no Pro.
Probably this is PS5 Pro enhanced as well if you decide to get this. But it looks great, even on the iPad, on when we're watching it right here. That's somewhat compressed, the graphics, just his movement and everything.
There's a nice touch right at the beginning, like 8 seconds in or something, where it actually does the TNA camera angle, where it goes and it does the tilt thing.
Let's see what that is. There's a steady cam with WWE. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. What a great catch. Let's see that again.
Sorry, I stole it off a YouTube comment.
Oh, yeah. I'll give you credit for it. That's nuance and detail right there. Because WWE does not do that tilted thing where they're over the 6-sided ring and all that stuff back in the day. But man, the pyro, his reaction to like be slightly scared of the pyro and then walk down. One thing they left out was this, the clapping. He was doing that for a bit when we wrestled too.
Does this mean that Abyss or Chris Park owns the Abyss character?
No.
And he's leasing
it.
No,
I think the deal with TNA has this being possible. That's my guess. I think it's a TNA thing.
Do you want to know a fun fact?
I always do.
Oh, I think I'm right. Who created the Abyss character?
Dutch.
I think they did it in Puerto Rico first.
Oh yeah, they did Abyss. That's where Abyss was born, as far as the character. Yeah, I had no doubt Dutch had a lot to do with, if not the birth of the Abyss character, definitely the development. He was probably Dutch's favorite character, right?
Yeah, one of them, I guess, because
Dr. Stevie wasn't.
I mean, you could just go nuts with it. With that being said, you mentioned this beforehand as well. Chris Park, formerly Abyss and TNA, was also asked when he was questioned, in fact, if he was done with wrestling or if he was going to make a return, and he said, to answer quite frankly, I'm done. I don't have any plans to ever wrestle again. Never say never, but I don't see it on the cards. I don't want it in the cards. I'm so happy with what I'm doing as a producer.
You interpret first, because I think we're having the same interpretation of this.
Okay, I think we've got a different one then. I just read that as somebody who's really happy to be done.
Yeah, really happy to be done, but what sticks out to me is like that he's treading water with this, or he's on the tightrope. He's saying, to answer quite frankly, I'm done. I don't have plans to ever wrestle or ever wrestling again. I don't have plans to ever wrestling. Who wrote this? Who wrote this copy?
I copied it from Inside the Ropes.
Do you see that? Grammatical. See, your dictionary guy would be really mad about that, or any thesaurus or grammar guy. But then it's followed up with, he's like, I think between him saying never wrestling again, then if he paused, he's thinking, well, wait a minute, what if it's a Saudi show or something? Well, never say never, but I don't see it in the car. That's what I interpret it as. And then he goes back to, well, maybe I can get more money if I say, no, I don't want it. I don't want it in the cards. Do you see? There's a little bit of an inner dialogue negotiating going on with Chris on this.
Do you know, I was thinking about Abyss as a producer, and I was quite surprised when he was given the job as one, because when I asked Dutch, like, what was it like producing Abyss, and I've heard it on a couple of other interviews as well, it's like he's the kind of guy you'd have to reel in, because he would just want to do everything, every single, you know, especially with the Monsters Ball matches. So I was actually quite surprised that he ended up getting a producer role, because I thought he maybe just getting older and he's got more restraint now. But do you know what I'm getting at as far as somebody who apparently didn't have restraint, at least in his career?
Well, he's like a dreamer. Dreamer wanted to get shot in the middle of the ring. He's another version of that. But also, I think Dutch has also talked about that Abyss back then was one of the, I wouldn't say insecure. He had the least amount of confidence of anybody I've been around in a very, very long time. And the lack of assertiveness a lot. But although he had a great mind, and that's why he's in WWE as a lead, he might be the lead producer of the entire group, I think, right? I think he might be either the lead or right up there with an Adam Pearce, because Adam Pearce was an agent. I don't know if he's still doing that, but he was somebody that if you walked up to him and said, if I said to him back then in 2009, man, they really didn't get your character right on that video game. He's like, are you serious? Oh my God, let me talk. He would get very worked up about that stuff. Or if you say, man, you really didn't look good in that last match. I saw him. Guys would mess with him to some degree. I think Dutch had talked about his lack of confidence and his lack of assertiveness with some stuff, which he's had to have shed that to last in WWE for what now, 10 years?
I think he was hiding like in 2019. He's not been there too many years, but enough.
It feels like forever.
Yeah.
10 years. I mean, 5, 6 years there is 10, 12. It's like being in a war.
Can you believe that the WWE, they did make offers to him a couple of times over the years to lure him over from TNA, and he never took it? I always wonder why.
I rode from him from the hotel to one of the TV tapings when we were working our angle together, and they had talked about, he said they offered me the angle with Undertaker. He was going to be the monster in that to work Taker. And I told him, I don't know what to tell you, man, but I know that when you come from an outside company, especially during that time, I was straight off of this is straight off of the Monty Brown, how they did the Monty Brown, that kind of stuff. So I was like, if you look at what they did to Monty, I don't know. But then you're paired up with Taker. So you're going to have a good angle for a while. But what about after the Taker one? After that storyline? And if it's timed to where you can get a WrestleMania match, that's really good. But there's no guarantees that's what it's going to be. So I kind of gave him a, I don't know, half pregnant kind of answer. Like, yeah, I mean, you're paired up with Taker, but at the same time, what are they offering you? What are you making here? And if they offer you money where you're going to have to put you with Taker, yeah, but if they bring you in at 75 a year like they had me, they could pretty much keep you on heat and velocity forever.
Yeah, he could have been Mordecai.
You're paid according to what the guarantee is, or you're used according to what you're paid in said guarantee. That's the way it was. Now, AJ Styles and everybody else has proven that wrong. But there was a time where if you weren't homegrown, dude, you were buried.